And every time you lose a manufacturing job and replace it with a service sector job, you take somebody who's making $69,000 a year and replace it with a $43,000 a year job.
About the enormous amount of skilled labor jobs that aren't able to be filled by people in California, and they're not able to be filled by the young people coming out of high school, coming out of junior college, because we're not offering the type of vocational learning opportunities that I think that we need in the high schools and in the junior colleges to be able to take young people and give them an opportunity to go into the it was amazing to me to hear the numbers of how many jobs that were actually available that were going unfilled, and that people were moving out of the state in order to be able to fill those jobs. The only way we're going to turn this state around is if we have a tax base of people in the middle class that are able to support the public safety programs, that are able to support the network that is necessary in order to keep people out of prison and to keep the state functioning at a public safety level in a proper fashion. Without the economic support of manufacturing, the future of California is bleak, in my opinion. Without the advancement of more jobs at the middle class level, in California we will go from the haves to just the have-nots and nothing in the middle.
California right now, for the last 4 years, received 4 manufacturing startups and expansions per million people, 4 per every million people in California. The national average is 40, 10 times what we're receiving in California. What's happening is investors are bypassing California. On a dollar amount,
good days and bad days. Between 1980 and 2010, we have become average. The iPhone that I have and all of you enjoy has those magical words, designed in California on the back, assembled in China. There were 1.2 billion phones in 2008 that were assembled or manufactured, and not one of them assembled or manufactured in the United States of America. Going to have a very aggressive framework around advanced manufacturing for all the reasons that have been stated and all the reasons that brought you here today. Because this is self-evident that we got to get back in the business of producing things and creating things. And I look at the math. $22 nationally is average manufacturing wage. Service sector is just $12. The greatest multiplier in terms of jobs, 1,000 folks in a factory, it's 10,000 folks in a supply chain that are benefited. No greater multiplier in terms of job creation than manufacturing. It's our exports opportunity. It's our export strategy. We have an extraordinary base to build off of, and I'm here because I'm passionate about this issue.
It's important to understand that research and development follows manufacturing wherever it goes. You can't be successful by just having conceptual knowledge. You need to have practical, on-the-ground knowledge as well.
Jack Stewart was the modern era leader in this a few years ago when he started bringing people together to say, we need to advance career technical education. And so the CMTA, I think, is a leader in this.
Boeing has been a fabric of California for many years. We employ 23,000 folks here in the state of California. We have 3 manufacturing firms here in California, one down in El Segundo building satellites, one in Silmar with the Spectral Labs, and the one that I run, which is Boeing Long Beach, which we develop and produce this model here, the C-17 program, the C-17 Globemaster III. From a statistics standpoint, 350 suppliers here in California provide us parts to build this airplane. Over 10,000 jobs for this program in the state of California. $1.7 billion in economic impact to the state of California annually. It's an economic driver, this one program, and we need to keep it going. As far as my program, we face a stark reality. In a couple of years, if we don't get additional orders, this program will shut down. And everything along with it, from jobs to human capital to industrial base, will shut down. And what's left is those jobs will go and find its ways elsewhere, probably most likely from an international standpoint. If we can become more competitive, right, from an affordability standpoint, the answer is we are able to sell international orders to keep this line going for another 3 or 4 or 5 years.
I was extremely disturbed to find that we have about an 8-month delay before we can move the first bolt into the ground. I can move equipment in boxes, but I can't unbox them due to the regulatory environment and, frankly, about 28 different permits and agencies that have to approve our laboratory.
Critically important. Simple call from the governor or lieutenant governor, somebody from a statewide level is important, because companies, when they're going to make a decision to make a major investment, want to feel they're wanted. Investors do not like uncertainty. They don't like chaos. They like to know it's something stable. And right now, California does not send that kind of a message out. In the past, we always have. I was talking to a gentleman the other day that does desalination plants throughout the country. The last 10 years, starting 10 years ago, he's been working on one desalination plant here in California. He went through all the environmental problems and everything else, and then he gets to the California Coastal Commission and has to start all over again. And that's where it's at 10 years later. They have built 6 other plants, other parts of the country.
But I will tell you, if wafer fabs today cost $7 billion, California will be $350 million uncompetitive before we even write the proposal. Why? Because we had a manufacturer's investment tax credit. That is, we reward the manufacturer on the back end. Many states have a sales tax exemption, which rewards the manufacturers on the front end. But we had an investment tax credit, and that helped to make a material difference. We can't start out.
There's a large California headquartered firm that's trying to expand in this state, and it's Chevron. Okay. The Richmond refinery, if you followed this, they jumped through every hoop environmentally at the federal level, the state level. 2 years, they want to invest $2 billion to retrofit their refinery in Richmond. And if you sat down and did the economics of it, you wouldn't do it there. The CEO is a 5th-generation Californian. He wants to be here. He's trying to make it work. And the local government has found some obscure regulation that's halted it. I mean, they talk about, having the equipment being delivered. It was delivered and it's sitting there in the plant. I've been there. $2 billion of investment, and it's just sitting there. I mean,
What I heard. We got to acknowledge the problem. And I still am amazed sometimes. I read these op-eds, and a lot of folks in my party, again, it's not a critique, it's an observation, are still in a bit of denial. You got 20 counties, and it depends if you use seasonal or last month's numbers, but roughly 20 counties with unemployment north of 15%. You've got anywhere from 3 to 6, depending on the months, counties with unemployment north of 20%. We need leadership. You want manufacturing jobs, you got to fight for it. There's got to be intentionality. We got to get back in this game. It does upset me when I hear stories, and we heard some examples of that. When I get a CEO who calls me, said, I got a call from the governor. I said, fabulous. And she goes, well, no, it wasn't your governor. And I said, who was it? She said, well, Haley Barbour. Problem. Establish a framework of leadership. Jerry Brown gets this. He just got here. He just spent 6 months with a singularity of focus I haven't seen on the budget in decades. It may not have been everything everybody wanted, but to his credit, there was a singularity of focus. And he is committed to taking that effort. 95% of job growth in state is organic. It doesn't come from headquarter poaching. 95% of your jobs, this is every national statistic, 95, 96% comes from existing business growth and capturing that and new business startups. A small percentage on new companies coming in. We tend to spend so much time on those new companies, not enough time on supporting all of you.